Hi guys, you're listening to the £3.30 podcast. I'm your host, Asha.
She's not our host, and I'm Reem.
And I'm Sana.
Oh. How you guys doing?
Oh, good.
What's everyone whispering?
Sana, how are you? Tell us about what happened today.
Basically.
Why are you going to hop me up like that?
Go on.
Basically. What happened was, you see me, just for everyone listening, people that don't know my lifestyle. In Qatar, I start work at 10 a.m. So I wake up at 9:57 and I roll out of bed and I put my laptop on and I work because I work from home. So there's no need for me to wake up any earlier than 9:57. Today, I woke up at 8 and then I snoozed for half an hour. I woke up at 8:30 to go to this conference that I'm meant to be going to in Qatar. It's a UNESCO conference about Yemeni arts and culture, and it's basically bringing together people from the diaspora, Yemeni diaspora, to have a conversation about the whole topic. Anyway, so I was excited. I got up and I put on my Yemeni t-shirt on. I put on my Yemeni necklace. I got ready. I was Yemeni today. I was super Yemeni. Drove all the way to where this event was meant
that
to
like
be
a
happening.
10-minute drive?
I get there and I see no one. Basically.
All the way
It was
there.
at least like 17 minutes.
Oh, wow.
All the way there. So I get there and then there's no commotion. But then I thought maybe it's because I'm a bit late. Everyone's already in the hall. I walked up to reception. I'm like, yo, I'm here for the UNESCO event. And they were like, there's no UNESCO event on today. And I was like, no, it's on today. I got an email. Now I went looking for my email and my emails were deleted. Yeah, I don't know why, but I couldn't find an email. He was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I received an email and there's this event happening here today. And he's like, well, you don't have an email.
Were you looking at him like,
There's no
duh?
evidence of this event.
Stupid.
And I'm telling you, there's no event. And then he went and brought his colleague and he was like, she's talking about a UNESCO event today. And she's like, there's no event on. And I was like, what? So I called up my guy, my plug, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, what's happening with this event? And he was like, what? I told you it's at 9:30. And I was like, yeah, I'm here.
I'm here,
He's
man.
like, it's tomorrow, fam. He was like, it's tomorrow. And I was like, what? I was fuming.
I'm
and
dead.
do you know what the funny thing is, yeah? Since last night, I've been messaging at least 2 or 3 other people that are going to this event, yeah? Just to make sure what time I need to be there. I've been asking them questions, location, everything. So I knew that I needed to be at this place at this time. And no one thought to tell me. Do you know what's even funnier, yeah? The guy that I messaged in the morning to confirm it's at 9:30. I messaged him and I was like, oh, I'm going to be a bit late, but I'm 15 minutes away.
And he was
Did
like,
he reply to me to say... Why did he not reply to me to say, you're an hour, you're like a whole day and 15 minutes? Fucking...
I'm dead.
I'm done. Anyway, then I went to the library and I was a bit productive, which is good.
Always good.
But I'm going to, try again tomorrow.
Bless.
At least now you know the route.
At least now you're familiar with all the security guards
17 route.
and all the stuff.
Shave off 2 minutes.
Bless you. That's so annoying.
Do you know when your motives get cancelled and you're
annoying.
fully doled up with nowhere to go? Oh, that's annoying.
Doled up and there. You're doled up and there. That's the difference.
That is very annoying. Also, does that mean that you're going to have
such
to
a
wear the
fool.
same thing tomorrow? Like, you planned this outfit from
Yes.
like months ago.
Yes.
I rate it.
I am wearing the same thing. I just made sure that I didn't see anyone today. So I'm
Sorry, Aziza, I'm busy.
But if anyone that's listening, Aziza is one of Reem Sana's friends out indoor.
Hold tight, Aziza.
Oh, hang tight, Aziza. She's a sweet one,
She's
fam.
very sweet.
Bless
Aziza,
her.
I can't look up today. I'm sick.
I'm dead. No carom. That dead game.
Bruv, this girl, Sana literally, she's a
Uncle.
She's actually an Indian uncle trapped in a Yemeni's body, fam.
Dead.
She loves playing karam and then she
Why
plays
am
all
I an
this shit.
Indian uncle?
What?
I just remembered Sana. We were out the other
Oh, are you guys talking about Kevin?
Sana, we were out the other day. And every single person that walked past would be like, that's
Bruh.
Sana. Or would be like, this is how you'd be as a man. We were crying about how you'd be as a man.
Because it's so
In
true.
tears,
It's so
Sana.
true.
Why?
I beg you, what
Because,
did we say again?
Basically,
My
we were
mature
saying
friends,
how Sana
ladies
would be
and
bare controlling. Yeah. Like, she'd come home from Jum'ah
What?
and call, she's like, you, on your way home from Jum'ah, you'd call your wife, I'm coming home with friends, cook now. Like, and like, she would never do anything right. You'd be bare vexed all the time.
Make sure
might
you
be
clean the
thinking
ceilings.
Do you know what she said? She said,
You know, I like how you guys.
she said that you
I
would
like how
say,
you guys told me that you were speaking about me all day, and now you're telling me the actual truth of what you were saying.
no, wallah, it was so funny. Reem was saying how you would say to your wife to clean the ceilings. That's how demanding you would be. It was
Wow.
bare extra.
Wow.
Go and wash all the doorknobs.
We literally, we
Where did
found
this reputation
we
come
found
from?
male versions of us, like all three of us. We found you and Fajr. we found then we just started talking about you as a man and it just killed us. I don't even know why. It's one of those dumb ones.
Oh, Sana would be such a like typical, like, oh, so funny, wallah. Because it's so true. It's so
I'd
true.
like to say no, but I think you're right. You know.
You'd wake up in the morning and if your shirt wasn't ironed, you'd be vexed. Wallah, it's so true. Bless you.
No, I wouldn't.
We found bare people.
You guys are ruining my
to the point where
reputation.
Reem was like, that's me when in like 30 years' time.
I literally saw me in about 30 years time about every 5 seconds.
Oh wait, so here's something that we were talking about actually, me and Reem, that we kind of disputed over. I was saying how funny guys get
Yeah.
all the girls, yeah, and then Reem was saying how funny guys get all the girls, and then eventually they become annoying. Is that true, or is it just me? I just think funny guys get all the girls, and like, everyone loves them.
I think it depends on the type of funny. Sana, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like if I was
Yeah,
if I was a
it's
boy,
silly funny, then yeah, it gets
if I was a
annoying.
boy, Sana, in it, I'd draw
Yeah.
all the girls, all of them.
This is how it started, but I said no, they'd get annoyed with her.
Why are you not answering?
No, I think you're a nice funny.
See?
I don't think you're an annoying funny.
You think you could marry Shumbuck's funny? In a boy?
I think so.
She
I
did.
think so, yeah.
She did. She married
love to marry
Fajr.
Shamba.
Fajr is my sort of funny. That's why we get along so well. Fajr is
Nah,
literally
we're
me
gonna have
in
to
a male
we're gonna have
version.
to agree to disagree on that
Fajr
one.
is funny as well. He doesn't get annoying though.
No, you see me
What
and
did you say,
Fajr.
Sana?
I said Fajr is funny, but he's not annoying funny. Like
See?
so far, I am not annoyed by him.
See? Me and Fajr find the exact same things hilarious.
Have you been annoyed with Shumbuck though when she's tried to be funny?
Not really.
Oh!
I don't think I could ever be annoyed with her trying to be funny. I get annoyed with her when she's serious.
Oh.
She
Why
chats
are you
shit.
arguing to them?
But when she's funny, I like her.
No, she's like getting annoyed with her when she's serious, but I can never ever get annoyed with her. See?
I think that funny guys
Really
after a while.
funny.
No,
Reem is glad that you didn't back her.
I think funny. I don't even know what to do with myself. I think funny's good. Don't get me wrong.
The
I
tide
think
have turned.
I think funny's great, yeah. But I think that some guys that overdo it
Yeah, it's
are
too
annoying.
much,
Like
yeah.
when they just try and always get a cackle out of everyone.
Like, you
all
know,
the
like,
time.
trying to be a clown in front
Yeah,
of everyone.
exactly.
Oh,
I
it's
don't rate that.
frustrating. Yeah, it's annoying. But to be fair, having said that, I don't like
That
like
is
funny
annoying,
guys. Having said all of that, I hate
What?
funny guys. Oh, center of attention all the time. They have to be by force.
That's because you want to be the funny
It's annoying.
one.
Yeah, it is annoying. Having said that, bare girls do love guys that are funny. That's how they get you in. But in a setting, they can never just chill and just sit back and just like let them. They have to be this. They have to be the one. Like, yeah, basically, yeah. The other day, they have to be the one telling the story.
That's
They
how
have to
you
be.
are.
No, I'm not. They have to be the one telling the
That's
story.
kind of you though.
That's not me.
Thank you,
man.
Sana.
I
Shana.
can sit back and just enjoy conversation and speak when it's necessary. Do you know how lovely that is? That's me. I can do that. Like even now, like I'm doing now.
Sana, I just want you to picture something right now, yeah? She's laying on a bed, one sock on and one sock off. And she's hiding the foot without a sock on because she knows.
I know the roasting go back to
She-
get.
She knows.
No, I'm hiding it because
Why are
I've
you
got
always a
food.
mess?
I'm hiding it because there's food around, fam. Just because no one needs to see that, fam. My toe literally looks like that olive.
Oh, that's cute.
Found your toe twin.
My toe twin.
Anyway, so how do we get onto this next topic?
Yeah, so
Speaking of funny guys,
Well,
speaking of funny guy,
that was perfect. Go on, yeah.
go on, Reem.
That was a perfect segue. Go on.
yeah. Speaking of funny guys and marriage,
that was forced. That was
let's
so forced.
now talk about young marriage.
Speaking of funny guys, speaking of relationships and people that you can be with and
Yeah,
compatibility.
see, this is why you're a journalist and I'm not, bro. Carry on.
Okay, speaking of compatibility,
While I eat.
something that one of our listeners has actually raised to us. So basically, here's what happened. We asked our listeners, you guys, you lovely, lovely people, what you think we should talk about and like, send us different topics. One of the things that somebody sent us was young marriage and how everyone's basically in a rush to get married, and to be in a relationship, and for us to offer our 2 cents on it. So, Sana, you wanna start the conversation off?
2 pence.
I want to know what you guys think.
I think it's a scam.
No, but do you think that's true? Firstly,
That's
do you
what I
think
think.
people are rushing to get married, and there is a lot of young marriages?
100%. Definitely. Well, obviously there's some. We can't just like discount all the young marriages that happen, because some people have been married from the legal ages of whatever young is, for many, many, many years, and it's worked out fine, and they're happy and content or whatever. I think nowadays, from what I've seen around, like from what I've seen growing up in London anyway, we can't speak about anywhere else in the world apart from our community in London, but from what I've seen, everyone is just trying to tick that box, because you finish school, you finish uni, you finish college, whatever, and the next step is always marriage, and people think that
That's the last step.
if you don't get that next step, but also they feel like if you don't get that step, then you can't go any further, then you're just stagnant, and you're not moving at all, which is a very like detrimental way to think, because that means you're not trying to further your career, you're not trying to develop yourself as a person, you're not trying to do anything, because you think that you're lacking in something, and we get like we get what's the word? We start to doubt ourselves, and we lose belief in our own self when we think that we're not ticking a box. So people just lose out on a lot of things, I think, because they're trying to get married.
I don't know. I disagree. I think a lot of people manage to do it all and not lose themselves and still manage to sort of stay on track. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's true for some, but it's not necessarily true for everyone. I think all the young marriages that I've seen so far, and when I say young marriages, I literally mean anything between the ages of like 18 up until like 22 or like 25 even. Yeah, I feel like you're young to get married at that age. I've always just seen it like they've lasted quite a long time. Like there was a couple recently that I follow, or there's a person that I follow quite on Instagram, and she's celebrating her 10-year anniversary, and she's like 30 or something, and it's just like I was just looking at it, I was like, raw. Like imagine, I think it's because I look at myself when I was like I'm still in my 20s, you know what I mean? But I'm in like sort of coming up to my late 20s, and like, yeah, I had to fold it. I'm coming up to, sorry, I'm just looking at my toes that I've had to fold my toes so she can't clock. I'm looking at myself and like all the growth that I've had to do in this time, and all the mistakes that I've had to make, and like the freedoms of just being broke, you know, the ones where it's just like I've had the safety net of living at home and having a family, so I can make the mistakes that I need to make to be able to grow as a person and to advance in my career and to take risks and all the rest of it. I don't think I would be able to do that if I was married, just because you have so many more responsibilities. You don't live out your 20s. You just I feel like you grow up too quickly. So in that sense, I don't think it's right. Having said that, I don't necessarily think that there are a lot of like marriages, young marriages these days, in my personal opinion. I think it's quite rare to see it, and I think maybe I'm just looking at it from my friendship group and the people that I know and my immediate circle and all the rest of it, because we're all in like our late 20s, and we're not even thinking about necessarily getting married. Like I know I'm not bothered by it. I think I'm thinking about I want to maybe meet someone, but I'm not thinking about
our late 20s.
We are in our late 20s. It's sad, isn't it? Like
Sad.
I mean, it's sad in the sense
Not
of
sad
like
at
I'm
all.
not young no more. Once it's coming up to an end.
You are young. What the hell?
No. I'm not young enough to make silly mistakes.
No, you are, bruv. You know the ones when we hit like 60 and we'll be like to our kids, like, shut up, man. You're still young. Like, you should.
Still a youth.
Honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I don't think there are that many young marriages, but I also think that when I do see young marriages, if it lasts a long time, I rate it. a lot. I rate it so much. If it's like quite fresh and it's quite new, I'm like, are you sure you're making the right decision, sort of thing. And I just think it's quite sad that so many young people are looking towards like marriage as if it's like an achievement, which I don't think it is. Like, I remember speaking to someone today, they said, I fear my creator, and honestly, I don't want to have to die having not completed half my deen. And I was like, oh my God, what a morbid way of looking at life. Like, that's such a sad way of looking at life. Like, just enjoy it, enjoy the ride, man. And if it's written for you, it's written for you, alhamdulillah. If it's not, then it wasn't written for you, man. You'll meet your wife in the akhirah. Like, call it a day, fam.
Reem, what do you think?
So I feel like a lot of the people that I went to school and college and uni with are all married with kids. And I just, mate, hats off to them. Because I think it's such a big job.
Yeah,
it
massive.
looks long. But people make it work. And we're all different. So some people are just more inclined to want that kind of stuff and to see the possibility of thriving and moving forward with someone. And some people just feel like they work better on their own. So I think it's just completely depends. But I do understand the thing of growing. Like, if I look back at me when I was 19 and me now, like, to be fair, I've not grown that much, but there'll be a difference. Like, I would not be able to marry some of the guys I used to know when I was 19.
Oh, and imagine having to go through that growth together, and that,
of course,
it's
like
hard
by force. Like, as you
That's
change as a
long.
human being, you expect that other person to change and mesh, and like it has to work. Oh, that's so sad.
But this is it, though. We're always changing.
Yeah, but I feel like once you get to a certain
Exactly.
age, you're a bit more stagnant.
I don't agree.
You're a bit more what's it called? It's a bit more like, in your 20s. Yeah, I feel like your teenage years, especially your teenage years up to your 20s.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, from when you're about 13, yeah, up to, and I would even say less, maybe up to like 30. I feel like your personality jumps up and down because you're still sort of figuring yourself out. When
Yeah.
you're 30 and above, I think you sort of started to establish, you started to put roots into your identity and the person that you are. And that doesn't happen for everyone, granted, and people are still figuring it out in the 60s and 70s, fair enough. But I think for the vast majority of people, they kind of know who they are and what they want, and they don't take shit as much, like, which is what I hope to be anyways. Hopefully I'm like that and don't take shit, but yeah.
I think different. I think when you're about, I don't know, when you're young and you think by 24 you'll own your own house, have a pet cat, have 2 kids and a husband, and you'll be going on monthly holidays, and then you realise, actually, now I've hit this age, I know that that's not something that's necessarily possible. And I feel like the same with becoming a bit older. So, like, I remember when I first discovered that women are over, like, I don't know, 19 had issues with men. When you're a teenager, and I was like, what? Like, you don't just meet someone and then just settle down and that's that. Like, I remember, like,
You thought it was a fairy tale.
I just thought it was a complete fairy tale. Till now, when I hear women that are in their 50s that are on like apps and trying to meet people, I'm like, I'm like, oh. But then I'm like, yeah, because we're ever growing, we're always changing, we're always moving, whether we like it or not, whether it's circumstances or just environmental changes, or even some people just like in unhappy marriages and they decide to leave it, and they're like, now I'm dating, and you're like, what? What? And I think it's a lovely thing to have that change, and that's what makes us so special as human beings. But I think I understand it is a really strong time in our lives where the pressure, I think what it is the pressure is on for you to figure out everything by 30. I think that's the difference. Where by the time you're about 50, you could still be doing whatever. People are just like, okay, cool, this is you set for life. Whereas when you're 20, you see certain things and you're like, I don't want to be here forever, or I have the pressure on, I'm looking at everyone and they're doing this, or they're married, or they're excuse me, I'm like Sana.
What if because you guys were saying, and rightfully so, like when you're both young and you're going through this huge new page in the page of life, and chapter of life, and it gets messy, and you don't know each other, and you don't know yourselves, and you're trying to grow and become who you are essentially. What if the girl is young or whatever, and the guy is a bit older than that? Do you think it makes it easier? And also, while we're on that topic, what do you think is like an adequate, or what would be like the maximum age gap that you would go for?
Oh, see, when when you said the thing about an age gap, I was wondering how many years. Because if it's, for instance, a girl who's 19 and a guy who's 29,
that's nasty.
I appreciate you can feel. It's not about maturity; it's more about where you are in life. In my head, like if you're just finishing, if you're not even finishing uni, sorry, if you've just basically started uni and this person graduated 8 years ago, has a job, did all of this stuff, has their own place, I feel like you might be struggling to meet at the same place. But some people don't want that. Like that's how I see it. But someone might look at it and go, actually, I want a more established man. I want someone who's got this, that, and the other. I don't mind that age gap. And I think, well, then good for you. But I think it's an issue when there's a power imbalance. But I think that can be with any age. I think that's concerning with any situation. If somebody is way more kind of in control and in power, like has more over you, then I think that's a concern. But I don't know.
I think if I was 19 and I was dating someone that was 10 years older than me, I don't even know why I'd put myself in that position, just because I'd much rather want to compete with people my age group. You know, the ones where it's like I'd much rather be like view other people in my age group as like people that I don't know how to explain it. You see, like how now, for us, if we're in a relationship with someone, we don't see anyone that's above our age group as a threat to our relationship ever. Does that make sense?
No.
So say for example we were all out. Say for example we were like as women, maybe it's not us, but just as women in general. If for example we were out with our man somewhere, or like dinner or whatever, or like just some sort of social setting, and there were women that were there that were much older than us, we wouldn't think that our husbands would be attracted to them. So we wouldn't even think it's even a threat. So if we were out, if I was out with my man and there was older women that were there, and they're a lot more like sophisticated and just like more what I think my husband would want. Does that make sense? That would intimidate me so much more. So I would much rather want to compete with people, compete with my age mates. You know, the ones where it's like I'd much rather the standard be set for where it's right for my age group as opposed to a much older age group. But then again, if I'm with someone that's gone for a much younger person, I guess they're not really looking towards that. But still, do you mean like you still have this sort of level of just like, am I good enough, or I have to grow up older than I have to grow up at a pace that's much quicker than what I initially expected, or what is necessary for me in my age group. That's just my first way of thinking in general. But I also think if I was in that situation, it would be such a sticky one, just because I would look at it from a perspective of my man would have expectations for me to level up quick. Do you know them ones where it's like, you're there. I don't know how to explain it. It's like he's already there. He's already established himself and sort of established his life, and he's been there, done that. So either it could be two ways. He can either be like, oh, like when I was your age. When I was your age, this is what I did, and this is my advice to you. Like I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that. Someone telling me how to live my life just because they've been there, done that, bought a t-shirt. Or he could look at you and just be like, doesn't really care. I don't know how to explain it. It's just there's so many. Just marry your own person, your own age group, man, and just don't have those pressures. It's weird. It's so weird. It's bizarre. That person is in a completely different mindset. Like just think about when you.
But not always, though.
I think so. I honestly think they are. I think they absolutely are. I can't see it any other way. In no other way.
I think it's case specific.
Having said, but women are like emotionally mature than men. Mature. They always say that women are like 5 years more developed than men.
Shanna, what were you going to say? Sorry, Sham Walker.
I was talking so much. By you. I was literally having a conversation with myself. But then again,
it's too close.
Sorry.
Keep saying peak.
Sorry.
Shamak's bare screaming into the task cam that it's gone red. It's saying peak.
Anywho, in terms of age, I think I agree with Reem. Obviously, I think it's on a case by case basis, because there are some guys that are, you know, they are older, but they still have like a very young heart, you could say, and they're able to talk to you and to like banter with you, and they're able to like speak to you in a way that you understand, not not being in like any condescending way or anything like that. But there are guys that are old, and they act old, they act like they're from another generation, and they treat you like you're from the younger generation. And I think that's where the problem is. And that's like you said, Shams, that's where there's going to be beef, basically, because no one wants to be spoken to like they are a younger. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to look up to their husband in that way. You want to look up to him in a way that's like, yeah, that's my husband, that's my man, he's whatever. But you don't want to feel like you're his child, and I think that's where the problem is. And in the same way, obviously, you could be in the same age group with your husband, and he could be so immature that you're like, are you my child?
I feel like that's
also problematic. So and unfortunately that is usually the case, because like you said, Shams, women are just more emotionally developed, and they're just a lot further in terms of maturity than men, despite their age.
Just reminds
but
me of,
what I
like,
wanted to,
you know, like how our parents
Go on,
always
go on.
say, oh, men are like children and treat them accordingly. You have to be,
Yeah.
it's long, man. Like, low-key, we are actually dating younger, even if they are our same age.
exactly. It's true, man. It's true. But like we are talking about this from a female perspective. I don't know what the male perspective is saying about us, if that makes sense. Like they could also see us as. Yeah, me and Fedra were having this men are trash conversation the other day, the debate, and he was like, why do girls say all men are trash? And I was like, it's not like an individual personal attack. I'm not. Obviously, I wasn't saying he's trash. I said to him, I'm not saying you're trash. I'm saying the system that you are a part of is trashy, and that's what the problem is. And he was like, no, but it doesn't make sense. And but I think if you break it down to like, I don't know how you'll feel about this, Shams, but if you break it down to the
I know
race
what's happening.
debate, yeah.
If you break it down to
Hold
what?
on. Yeah, if you break it down to like race, yeah, and racism and how it structures society, I asked him, I was like, in today's world, currently, who runs the world? Yeah, and he was like white people, and I was like, yes, of course. But do we hate every single white person? And do I think exactly, white men? And I was like, do we hate every single white man, and say that every single white man is racist? No, it's not that. It's that the system is built around and in the benefit of white men, and that's what the phrase "men are trash" means. It's that the system that you're involved in has you on the upper hand and has us on the lower end, pretty much.
Also, I've always found that men who take that phrase "men are trash" like personally, or feel obligated to get annoyed by it, I think it's because the truth hurts. Like, you know, the ones where if the shoe fits, like it's because they're talking about
White
you.
privilege.
Yeah, if you don't think that's you at all, why would you get annoyed? You know that's not you, so it's like, oh, probably talking about somebody else. Like, oh, this girl's hurt. You know, the ones, but it's not you. No one's talking about you.
They just get offended, innit?
It's like, you know, when people say, oh, Black Lives Matter, and then suddenly it's all lives matter. You just don't get it. Like, I hear what you're saying in terms of like, obviously, like race and gender are two very, very different things, and it's not comparable. But I think just on the very surface of it, yeah, it does seem to make sense, and there are quite a few similarities. But no, I hear that. Why do you think that I wouldn't agree with it? Because you don't.
Because anytime anyone says anything about black or white, it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, I get mad very easily. You know, Sana made me watch this Netflix show, and it kind of and I think it affected my day a lot. It affected even my interactions with you guys. I got pissed that day with you guys a little bit as well.
Why?
Do you remember when you?
Why?
Do you remember what I'm talking about? No. Sana made us watch this. Made me watch this Netflix series. It's called Chelsea Handler, and then it was about her looking at white privilege. And I think the whole documentary in itself pissed me off and annoyed me in so many ways, just because she was unaware that even her as a white woman being able to do a Netflix series talking about race is white privilege. There's never been an opportunity for black
Yeah.
people to ever do that on like a real basis. Like there's been like Netflix shows like Dear White People and that kind of stuff, but even then it's always met with backlash, and it's always quite difficult for black people to talk about race in a way that doesn't make white people feel uncomfortable. So here we have this white woman who wants to talk about race and like hold white people accountable to their white privilege, or even just make them aware of it, not realizing that in itself is a privilege for her to have a Netflix series. And just the entire thing was just like she didn't really touch on what white privilege was, in a sense. Like I just feel like it wasn't her space to speak about it from a white person's perspective. It wasn't, even though she explained it really well in that she thinks that white people have a problem talking about their white privilege. So it's about time that sort of they take the mic and really talk about it and like understand it and acknowledge it, which I get and I think is right. But I think where we're at still at the very beginning stages of people just even accepting it and even understanding it, I think the conversation needs to be held and led by black people or people who are disadvantaged by white privilege. Yeah, that's number one. So I think
Can I just jump in on that?
Go on.
Well, one minute. You just said that it needs to be led by black people, yeah. But on the other hand, there is this
black
argument
people
that
or people
I
that
hear
are
a lot.
disadvantaged by it.
Okay, so the argument for that is, and I see this all the time, is that they're saying, black people are saying, we are tired of like teaching you. We want you to just take things into your own initiative and just get the shit done and stop asking us about it and stuff like that.
People doesn't necessarily mean
what
about
could
teaching.
So what could white people do? What could she have done that would have made it a bit more
not
okay
doing
for
it?
you? Because
What she could have done is that she could have been an executive producer for that show and chosen. She had such a good opportunity. She opened up speaking to Kevin Hart and what's the other lady?
Tiffany Haddish, and they were talking about their experiences as black entertainers, as black Hollywood actors, right,
and their struggles. And even then, she was trying to make it into a little bit of a joke and like have a bit of a laugh about things and like take away the seriousness of it, and didn't really like explore into that even more. And I think if she just kind of gave
I'm gonna have to disagree with that one.
Yeah, of course.
They are, hold on, these two are comedians, yeah. And she's also a comedian. I think it's only natural for all of them to come in with a funny.
But I think
they started that. Yeah, of course they were being serious, but they did like jump in with jokes and stuff, and she responded to that, and it did get serious to the point where Tiffany Haddish had a little cry. So I don't think it's fair to say, oh, she came in with trying to make jokes and stuff.
Sana, I think
like they did have a serious discussion.
Anyways, aside from that point, I don't even know why I started talking about swimming, but that day I was really, really pissed off, yeah, because I watched that documentary, and then you lot were talking to me about, Shams, would you be interested in this sportsman, this athlete? Yeah, and it just pissed me off. Like that day, I was just vexed, and I was just on one. It was on the same day. I watched that documentary earlier in the day, and then later on, you lot were like, "Oh, would you want me to?" And I was just like, fuck sportsmen, fuck athletes, they all want white women anyways. You know the ones where it's like it irks me to my core, like thinking about like just like your relationship and how you navigate, and like how black men always, like not always but usually, yeah, they love white women. They're always like apologetic for them. Case in point, Gina, the who's that actor that got called out recently for saying nigger in her
Gina Rodriguez.
I'm
so annoyed at her apology.
Do you know what I mean? Like she and it wasn't even the first time that she'd done that. There was another video of her that came out from like back in the day.
I saw that.
Even before she was on the show, even before she was famous, and she was saying it, and there was black men that were there and they never called her out. It's like literally it's annoying. It's so annoying, like how black men hate black women usually. Like that's just the point of it. That's just how it is. So when you guys are like, oh, what do you think about this? I'm like, fuck these men. You know, everyone's like, fuck everybody. It's just annoying. It's so annoying. Like obviously not all black men, let me just put a disclaimer for anyone that's going to be butthurt about this, but obviously not all black men hate black women, but usually black women are never allowed to make mistakes, or never allowed to have a past, or never allowed to say anything. Usually black men don't defend us as much as we defend them. that's just what I've seen in general. Like we always fight for our kings, but they always you know the ones where they want to call us queen, but when it's time to actually be a queen and to actually be a king, you're not about. It's fucking long. So this is why I just hate talking about like fucking relationships and that, because it's just long. I just hate everyone.
How did we get to this?
It's gonna be single and die alone.
No, you're not. Don't be silly. I didn't watch that thing because I don't know. I just find it really hard to watch things these days.
Don't bother watching it. It's long.
I feel like it's
No, but I need to no hold on. I need to understand, yeah. Because I watched that, and for the first time I thought, okay, at least this is a white person taking initiative, going to speak to different people about it, and not just going to speak to black people to understand, going to speak to white people to tell them about their white privilege. That's what, from that angle, I think it worked well. Obviously, it's a starting point.
Bro, this is
what you said about her.
Sana, you need to see with clear eyes, yeah? Chelsea Handler put out a book a few years ago called Uganda Be Killing Me. This is a PR thing to make her feel better about bullshit like that. Sana, you need to understand, these people don't give a shit. Like, they actually don't care. Like, this is the thing. It's so hard to make them care and to make them understand, because they will never experience it.
I don't think you can say that about everyone. I don't. Okay, fine. They will never experience it, and they will never understand that. We agree on that point.
It's a publicity stunt. You need to understand these people.
Who's to say? No. You can't. You have to. Listen, we have to give people benefit of the doubt.
Of course.
Who's to say that mishap, that PR bullshit that happened with her book, the Uganda Be Kidding book or whatever it's called, maybe because of that backlash, or because of how she saw people react to it, she, like a light bulb clicked in her head, and then that's when she began this journey to understand white privilege and how she was able to do that, and no one said anything to her. So I can't just come out and say, okay, this is a PR stunt, and dismiss anything that she might be doing that's like good. So I obviously this is nothing to do with me, so I can't even have an opinion on this really. But for Sana, me, watching this, I think it was a positive step, first step, and that's what's the important thing.
Sana, this book was published in 2014. It's taken her 5 years for a light bulb to click. Please, she had backlash in straight away, and she never. This is what they do. They never ever hold themselves accountable, especially when they're a celebrity. They get shook, but and it's fair enough, because I don't know what I would do in that position if I was to ever make any sort of mistake in a public way, and I would have no idea how to address it, because obviously we're living in a cancel culture. People don't accept apologies anymore, and they don't accept that people make mistakes. I hear that completely. But I just feel like she was never held accountable for it. You never even heard it, babe. You never even heard. I didn't even know that Chelsea Handler had a book called You're Gonna Be Kidding Me. Years later, she gets a deal and she's on national TV with her own talk show. Whereas Kevin Hart, who made a homophobic comment when he first started out, to this day that still haunts him. He has apologized profusely to the point where he now says, I'm no longer going to apologize for it because I already have. Like, there's how much more. Do you see what that means? It's like, I can't forgive it because I don't give a shit about Chelsea Handler, about what she's and what she does. I think I would give a shit more if someone like Kevin Hart was to talk about white privilege from that perspective, in that as a black man, things are never let go. Like, he's completely apologized for the situation. I remember
what I wanted to say. Sorry, I've been trying to remember for about 20 minutes.
No. Until now to be boring.
It reminds me a little bit of, you remember that film 12 Years a Slave? Yeah. And they proper made the white people proper heroes. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And it felt like what was happening actually was they were not the heroes. They said one thing and suddenly became so heroic, and people were so focused on that, and they were like unity and this, and it's like you're taking the attention off what the real issue was here, and you're placing all this praise. And I think that's the dangerous thing, when people get so much praise for something that is like you don't need that much praise. Like, I don't know her. I've never even heard of Chelsea Handler. I don't know who she is. I'm not even going
She's
to
a
be
so
rude.
leading and
Me
talk
too.
show host.
But it feels like people then focus all the attention as opposed to being like, okay, cool, I understand more about this topic. It's like, wow, this person is so great. They've made me realize, da, da, da. And that's good because it's good to gain knowledge. But I actually agree in that people should be leading, your voice should be the center of it as opposed to hers. And I think she, from how it sounds, remember I haven't watched it, so it's hard for me to make a judgment.
It's all about people assisting the conversation always.
But yeah, and I think that it's really important for things to be a bit more led by the people that they're talking about. I really do. I think in all situations. I think that's how I feel when I see people that are English going into Iraq, talking about Iraqi politics, and I'm like, okay, cool, you've read about this, grand, but I really want the Iraqi population to be speaking about this or whatever it is, because I think that it's a matter of empowering and noticing and recognizing that this is your thing, and I understand not being tired of teaching people, because I get it. It looks so tiring having to just be like, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. But if you're doing something that's a project. It's more than the dealing with the daily things. I know that's tiring, but that's a project that someone, for instance, like you said, Kevin Hart was willing to take part in it. Tiffany was willing to take part in it. So it should, I think, I agree with you, it should have been pushed so that people are leading that more, or that, because they're realistically, people are talking about this. People are talking about this, and people have dedicated their lives to this. There are activists who are still, till this day, focusing on purely looking at and dismantling white privilege, and it's about focusing focusing the attention on the people that are actually doing that instead of a white comedian, in my opinion. But it was, Sana, don't you think that entire documentary was just touching on the surface? Because she did the most obvious thing, which was to look back at her history, and she literally made it by herself. She went back to her old town, and she went back to go see the black boyfriend that she dated before. She goes, you know what? I didn't actually. Yeah, wallah. Reem can't deal. She had a black boyfriend, and she was like, oh, you know, like now that I think back on it, whenever my boyfriend used to sell weed when we were younger, and he used to always get pulled up, and I used to always have weed on me too, but I used to get away with it. That's white privilege, and it's just like. Oh, like, you know, the ones where it's just like, really? Yeah.
Like, she did the most. It's like, white privilege isn't just on the surface of like your white experience. That's not what it is. It's my experience as a black person walking into a job interview, and because my name is Asha Hussein, automatically I don't have the job, or automatically people have opinions about who I am. I have to change the way that I am to suit you and make you feel comfortable. I have to change my hair type to make you feel comfortable, just because you don't like seeing braids in the office. It's things like that, like small, minute things where it just itches and cracks away at you as a person, as a human being, navigating in society, being made to feel like you have to change. It's so much more than that. They will never understand it, Sana. They will never get it. This is why she never did it justice, because she just touched on the surface of it, and she just touched on her personal experience. It was fucking useless. It was the most useless thing I think I've ever watched in my entire life. I wasted my whole hour, Sana. I'm so sorry you loved it. I
think it was longer than an hour, actually.
But it was.
I didn't listen. I'm not saying I loved it. I'm just saying
it was interesting.
Hold on. I didn't say I love it. I said it was interesting to watch, and it was a good first step. That's what I said. Yeah.
I think everyone should watch
but
it. Wallah,
I still want to understand. If this is not it, what should be done?
Yeah, we just said it should always be led by conversations from people that it actually affects. Like Sana, yeah. Even though like you guys are Arab and like you're light skinned, and to some extent because you're much lighter skinned than me, you still have privileges in this world. But I think everyone's affected by white privilege. Yeah. Even it affects you guys in so many different ways. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even if it doesn't necessarily have to be black.
So are we saying? Hold on. Are you agreeing to POC culture now? We should all come
I've
together
never
as
agreed to POC culture. I've never agreed to that ever.
Interesting.
But
anyway, listen. Let me just ask this question. If you're saying it should be led, I agree with you. There should be initiatives that are led by people who are affected by it. But does that mean that white people should do nothing and step back and just chill? That's what I'm saying. There needs to be something being done from white people, because I agree that it must be tiring for people to just speak about it 24/7. Like, there is so many times that you can say white privilege and teach people and explain your experiences and stuff. But what should they be doing?
Yeah, I think you've misunderstood. I'm not saying they should be excluded from the conversation. I'm just saying they shouldn't always be at the forefront of it and shouldn't always be leading the conversation. Allowing another group to lead a conversation doesn't necessarily negate that this other group shouldn't be part of it at all. We shouldn't be part of the conversation, because I think what Chelsea mentioned, I think it was a very, very good point that she mentioned, was that white people never want to talk about their white privilege, or they never want to accept it or see their white privilege. Yeah. And it makes them uncomfortable talking about it, because they don't really see it, they don't really accept it, which is a completely valid point. And I think in that sense, this is why white people should always be involved in the conversation, but they should never lead it. That's what I'm saying. They should never lead conversations in which they are the ones that are benefiting off of the very same thing that is hurting, or what's the word I'm looking for? Oppressing.
Like, what are you doing to dismantle it?
Yeah.
What did Reem say? Sorry.
I said, what are you doing to dismantle it? Like, you've acknowledged it exists. What do you do now? What do we do now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you going
That's
to...
the question. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, make sure that on Thanksgiving you challenge your granddad when he speaks about, I don't know, some random racist shit. Like, what are you going to do? You're just going to talk about it, acknowledge it. It's like, that's cool. We can all acknowledge that it exists. I think people kind of really understand that now. I feel like everyone understands white privilege exists.
I think people are over arguing about it now. I think it's just about, like, okay, what can we do to challenge it? Let's just move on from the conversation of arguing about it. It's annoying. It really is annoying.
And there are...
I think you'd be surprised, though, how many people are still don't believe that it exists.
Yeah, it's true.
She interviewed some of those people on the documentary.
I remember, yeah. Some aunties from the south.
Always. Always.
Well, I struggle to believe that black people would go through these things with police brutality. I mean, don't put yourself in that position. I just struggle to believe that black people are at a disadvantage today in 2019. Like, it's just, the ones where it's just like, you live in such a bubble.
You're a good
really
white person.
do. Did you like my accent?
Well,
Bill.
why are we so dumb?
Anyways, me and Sana can never talk about race ever.
So guys,
ever. We struggle to talk about race.
Yes,
no, we can. Listen. Wait, hold on. You're acting like I'm
a racist. No, I'm joking. Wallah, you're not. Wallah, you're not. I think today is. I think I love our conversations.
I'm just trying to understand it.
I think it's just because I hate to be challenged about things that I've experienced. It's not even like you're challenging, but it's just like it's just a different conversation. Yeah, I hate it. I can't stand it. Where other people can, and they love that. And it's not just like, it's not just about race. I think it's even religion. Me and you are on to talk about religion because we just have such different views about certain things. So it's just difficult to have that conversation. I hate having conversations about race. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to argue or whatever. I'm just genuinely, when it comes to race, I'm just trying to understand, innit?
It's such a tough one because obviously we have very different experiences.
I feel like, considering this conversation that you guys are having right now about not wanting to talk about race,
decent.
we talk about race every week, like every single week.
Exactly.
I always look anti-black just for banter, and I know they hate it. But you know, actually, let's speak on this, because I remember a couple of weeks ago, I actually apologized to. I remember telling you this, Sana, didn't I? I apologized to Reem for making her feel uncomfortable because even though she wasn't, and she never said anything. No, listen to me. Reem wasn't uncomfortable, and she never said anything to me about feeling uncomfortable, because we always have this joke about, oh, you're racist, you lot are racist, bit anti-black, you Arabs, yeah, and it's banter, and we do it all the time to each other. Yeah.
Well, no, you do it all the time to us.
I think we banter on a level where it's like,
we do it all the time to each other.
Behind closed doors, yeah, we banter to each other about things that people should never hear about.
No, we don't. Sorry.
No, we do. But I always make to the point where shut up, to the point where you're anti-black now, but to the point where Reem is dying. Reem, don't me laugh, I'm gonna fart.
You lot have been anti-black now. I'm so done with you. Yeah, go
But
on.
yeah, so we have these jokes to the point where, you know when you in anything and whatever joke that you guys make, and if it's regular, especially when it comes to like race, yeah, I
We
think
never make jokes about
they
race.
never make jokes about race ever. Yeah, it's always me. I always bring it up because it's my go-to to make them feel like, oh, sorry, it's my go-to. Yeah, but obviously they know it's banter, and obviously they know I'm not being serious. But you know when you put someone into like a state of like paranoia, yeah, of thinking of like. Even though it wasn't the case, but I would never want for you guys to ever be put in a position where you think, I can't say certain things to Asha, or I can't do certain things to Asha, or I hope Asha doesn't take this the wrong way, or you're proper watching what you're saying. You're proper watching what you're saying. Sana text us just now in the group chat saying, can you wrap up? Anti-black fam, always anti-black. But my point is, yeah, folks, don't put people in a state of paranoia to the point where they overthink about what they do and what they say. It's not a nice
I don't
feeling.
overthink.
I know, even though I know you don't, fam. Do you not hear what I said? Never like listen to black people.
No, but I appreciate
My black voice is
everything
not
that
being
you
heard.
tell us though, because I feel like shut your mouth, bro.
What were you saying?
Listen, I feel like since we've been having all these discussions, I've learned a lot from you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I never feel paranoid because I just avoid saying anything remotely.
Because you don't say anything that's remotely racist anyway.
We could say anything. Yeah, exactly. We could say anything about anything, and she'll come out with anti-black. So I don't know where to go from here. But I do appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. That conversation was nice.
Very
I
nice.
think I spoke the most out of everyone as
You
per
usually
usual.
do.
Exactly, because you spoke to yourself.
Sana, you spoke a little bit more today. I was pretty
Innit?
silent. I was.
She was
Thanks,
pretty
guys.
silent. She was.
I was
'Cause
pretty
I had my
silent.
nap.
I was.
Right, should we wrap up then, innit, fam?
Wrap it up.
Thank
So-
you guys for listening and for your suggested topics. We appreciate you, and we'll try and get through some of them next week, or we'll set out some new ones. Soz. You can listen to us on everything: Spotify, iTunes, podcast app, YouTube, everything. And we love your interaction. Sorry, it's been a little bit quiet on Instagram. Reem, the Instagram lady, has got a shoulder injury.
Reem is talking about herself in third person as well.
And is going through emotional turmoil, but she's going to be back with a bang. She is back with a bang.
Inshallah.
So please follow us on £3.30 on Instagram and at £3.30 on Twitter with the 3 instead of as in the number. This is why I don't do outros, you know.
We'll put all our links in the description
And
box.
obviously Asha Everyday at Asha Everyday on Instagram and YouTube. Follow that, subscribe to that, all of that. Gas her. And Sanasino with 2 eyes on Instagram and YouTube. No, on YouTube and Twitter. And like and comment and subscribe to her channel because her and Juji Puji are cute.
Juji Puji.
Mashallah. And thanks again and goodbye.
Buy her book.
Oh, buy her book.
Bye.
Sana Ukba. Love and War. War and Love.
Buy my book.
I mean.
That's me every week. Love and war and love falls.
It's brilliant. Get out the tissues. You're going to have a cry.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's
Thank you,
becoming
mate.
birthday
Thank you.
season, Christmas season, the lot. All right. Enjoy. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.